Support! Give us a subscribe. Help us hit 400 subs. Be the 400 subscriber and win a prize package. Hello and welcome. It is 10:30. It is the third day of April 2021. April Fool's has come and gone. Easter is tomorrow. And right now we're talking about Call of Cthulhu. Why are we talking about Call of Cthulhu and the basic role-playing system? Because it is the second most popular role-playing game in the world. It is the number 2 selling role-playing game in the world. It's number 1 selling role-playing game in Japan. And we're trying to understand why. What is it about this game that makes it so much more loved than any other system? Is it just the simplicity of percentile dice? Is it the fact that the setting requires a whole different mindset than just the kick open the door, kill the monster mindset of Dungeons and Dragons? Is it because it's set in a world we understand, i.e. our world, using real world places to make things freaky? Or is it just because we love horror and we love tentacles? Who knows? So today we're looking at the stats. And most specifically, yesterday when we were looking at this, we were kind of confused over why there is a size stat and a constitution stat. Now, according to this, size reflects your investigator's combined height and weight. So right there, we know that that's something you could never get away with anymore in the current, at least American, role-playing mindset. How dare you, system, tell me how much my character weighs? You're fat-shaming me. Yeah, so we know that if any SJW looked at this, they would be totally offended that there's a stat that tells you your character's fat and want to just censor this game and tell people that, Call of Cthulhu fat shames and body shames people because it has a stat that tells you how tall and how much your character weighs. So, yeah, Call of Cthulhu would get in a lot of trouble. And I'm surprised it hasn't gotten in trouble yet. Or maybe it has, I just hasn't seen the story about it. But, yeah, how dare they? Of course. Yeah. So we know that would happen now. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But more importantly, since there's already a strength stat and a constitution stat, why is there a third stat that kind of does the same thing? What does that stat give you? So according to this, it gives you your damage bonus. Add your regular strength and size characters together and consult table on page 8. So if you have a strength of, 12 and a size of, 30, you would look and see, strength plus 12 plus 30 is, 42. That gives me a -2 damage bonus. I don't know. Seems kind of arbitrary, but I guess it made sense to the designers at the time. Also, since size plus con together is your hit points divided by 10, rounding down to the nearest whole number. So if you had a size of 50 and a con of 50, you would have 100 hit points divided by 10, giving you 10 hit points. And those are the only two things that size affects. So, you could have strength plus con equal hit points, and strength plus dex for damage bonus and build. I don't really know why you'd need this stat without having the full rules, but just by going by the basic rules. These aren't even the basic rules, they're the basic rules. This is like the basic rules cut down to even more basic. Looking at the game system here, luck rolls, sanity. This is the most important thing in the game because you can go insane so quickly. In Call of Cthulhu, we have close combat, fighting maneuvers, firearm maneuvers, hit points, wound, and healing. Nothing about size in there. And then, the next thing you would want, the Call of Cthulhu Keeper rulebook if you want to get, all into the game. So that would be the next step after this to explain things. I don't know if I want to pick it up just to understand the mystery of one stat. But so let's try and understand the mystery of why it is so popular. And it's very, I've been looking and there's no one real good thing, We know that it sells more in Japan than it does here in America. If you went into a game store in America and looked at the shelves, most of it would be dominated by D&D and Pathfinder and D&D and their, related products. But if you go into like a Japan game store, that same shelf space, if not larger, would be taken up by Call of Cthulhu and Call of Cthulhu related products, including the other games that Chaosium put out, like RuneQuest, Super World, Delta Green, stuff like that. So, and we know that from our research that more women play and girls play Call of Cthulhu in Japan than men, and the only basic explanation we can find that maybe explains it is, one, the system is pretty easy, it's percentiles, and two, just the idea sort of means more role playing, more interaction with the world. You have to be more careful. You have to invest in the character's safety a little bit more because, in a Call of Cthulhu setting, you could go insane and die at any second. So that sort of gives you more of that like team of people investigating a horror movie scenario. And in horror movies, you got to be smart if you want to end up being the final girl. As for why the system itself, and so many people have said that if this is one of the best systems in the world for running anything, you could easily use it. And, I can see that because it does seem to be pretty easy. The combat system literally takes up 1-2 pages. 2 pages for a combat system. That's pretty easy. Does it tell us how to make a character? So it just says creating an investigator. So what you do is you get the values and you can put them any way you want. So the values are 40, 50, 50, 50, 60, 67, and 80. So you can put those in anywhere you want to make up your character. And then, you figure out the halves and the fifth characteristic values, and then you figure out the, secondary attributes, and then you pick the skills. So there's no dice rolling for stats. Just here's your layout. Place them where you want. You want to have a really agile character, put your 80 in your agility. If you want to have a really smart character, put your 80 in your intelligence. If you want to have a really strong character, put your 70 or your 80 in your strength, and then, just divide them up. Some stats going to be at the 40. So, it's just like any other point array. Then we figure out our skills. So you have 8 occupation skills and also a credit rating skill. One skill is at 70%, 2 at 60%, 3 are 50%, and 3 are 40%. So that's 8, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, that's 9. You now assign points to the skills of your investigator. No player can add points to the Cthulhu Mythos skills during character creation. It is assumed that all the beginning characters are ignorant of the threat of the Mythos. I'll allocate the following values among the 8 occupation skills and also your credit rating skill. 1 skill can be at 70, 2 can be at 60, 3 skills can be at 50, and 3 skills can be at 40. So 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 2 is 7, 8, plus 1 is 9. Oh, because of the credit rating skill. There's actually a skill for credit rating. Did they have credit rating in the 1930s, 1940s? It seems like a more recent thing. So there we go. So that's how you pick your skills. Again, no rolling. You just assign stats. There is a magic system, but obviously it's not covered in this game because that's more thing. So obviously if I ever wanted to run this or play it, I would have to pick up the Call of Cthulhu Keeper rulebook. But for just starting out, this seems to have everything you need. It explains the system really well, though the mystery of the size stat is going to just, without interviewing the actual creators or looking at the history of the game further, I just don't see why there's a third stat. And we know under today's political microscope. If one Karen SJW woke saw this and said, "Oh my God, how dare you have a stat that tells me my character's fat? You're fat shaming me. You're body shaming me. This system needs to be, we need to cancel a culture." And then, of course, Chaos, you would have to apologize and backwards compatible. "Oh, we're sorry. All our previous games have this stat, and you might be offended by this stat, and you might think we're fat shaming you, and anybody who owns this game might be fat shaming, body shaming you, and how dare we ever actually have done this?" So, yeah. And isn't it sad that I can think that, and our world of the gaming hobby has come to the point that we know that somebody's going to say this game fat shames because it has a size stat. Anyways, that's our second look at Call of Cthulhu. We are going to continue to explore the mystery of its popularity at some point in time, but now it's time to move on to another game. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you don't appreciate this content, let me know. I can't fix it if you don't tell me what's broken. I can't do what you want to see if you don't tell me what you want to see. Till next time, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit that magical 400. Remember, our 400th sub will win a prize package, and I will talk to you Cthulhu's later.